Welcome back everyone to another episode of the Driver's Apex, and in today's video we're going to replace engine mounts. It's not that difficult of a job. I'm going to show you how it's done. But before we get there, how do you know that you need to replace your engine mounts? Well, first one is visual inspection. This engine mount was compressed much more than a new one. Second, vibration at idle, so I could tell at idle that the car was shimmying. It was just not running quite as it should be. And third of all was I could feel it through the steering wheel at highway speeds. Now, that's not tires, so generally that would be an alignment or something wrong with the tires. It's like cupping, something like that. Tires are new, 2 alignments. That wasn't it. This car has polyurethane front control arm bushings, and I think it was able to take the vibration from the engine mounts, magnify it through the control arm bushings, which is felt in the steering wheel. So I'm pretty confident that slight steering wheel shake, ever so slight, had to do with worn engine mounts. So let's get these engine mounts done. I promise you it's not that difficult. Since the airbox is out of the way, and you've got to remove the airbox to do this side anyways, I've got a couple extensions with a swivel and a 16. I did remove this out of the way just because I didn't want to damage anything. This, it's on there pretty tight, but you got to snake it next to the airbox behind this big set of like ribbed hoses, and then the engine mounts there. 16 mil, takes a little bit of force. I'd probably use a 1/2 inch, break it loose. Now all I need to do is go underneath, break that one loose, and then let's move to the passenger side. But we're gonna use a breaker bar because I really don't want to strip this. I think we got it. There we go. Boom. Okay, are we still on there? Okay. That's such a wonderful feeling, and it didn't strip out. So that's why I went to the top first. Yeah, I don't like bending shields out of the way, but that literally looks like the only way to get there. Guys, it's loose, and look at that. I didn't even strip it out or anything. So the tops are 16s, the bottoms are 15s. Stupid me didn't look at real OEM before I ordered new nuts, and I ordered just 4 of them. So I might have to make another order. Ugh. But that sucks. But no worries, we're gonna get this done. So I've got a pause right here. Engine mounts will be delivered on Friday from, I think, FCP Euro. So those will be here Friday, which means I can get this done on Friday and then this video posted hopefully on Monday. So we're doing a whole bunch of different videos here, trying to kind of combine things. They're sort of how-tos. It's just what's happening in this garage. What are we doing? Why are we doing it? The big thing is engine mounts needed to be done. I definitely noticed a slight vibration in the steering wheel at some higher speeds, and I definitely think it's pancaked engine mounts, transmitting vibrations through the chassis, polyurethane control arm bushings, which means, hey, they're absorbing vibrations. Let's send it up to probably the steering shaft area. The steering jubo looks just fine, so it's definitely not that, but I figured it was a good idea. Everything's removed from this engine that would be a hassle for doing the engine mount, so it seemed logical to just do it now. I ordered Cortecos, looked at FCP Euro. Corteco apparently makes the rubber bushings for BMW, just minus the BMW stamp, so it made a lot of sense. That was about $130 or something like that instead of the $300 or something else like that. So that's going to get done here Monday. We're just waiting on a water pump and a couple other parts, but I would say by Tuesday or Wednesday, today's Wednesday, this car should be back on the ground and driving. Driver side's not too difficult. As you can see, it's out. Let's just compare it to the new one. All right, so not as bad as you would see on a really high mileage E46 M3. But yeah, there's definitely a difference, but not too bad. I figured we're in here, let's do it. Try to see, yep, that's BMW on the bottom. Looks identical, so let's go ahead and get this one in. Make sure nothing's gonna cut, rip, bend right here at the top of that rail. So we gotta be really careful there. There you go, passenger side. Yeah, I would see passenger side is a lot flatter. So let's get this replaced. It just feels good to, I got really close to the camera. Oh my gosh. I'm so used to you guys now being this like here with me. I was like right up here. It's crazy. All I gotta do is just transfer that over. And then I just need to make sure it's in the right spot. And then we can get this put back in. All right, we're going down. Hold up. There we go. There it is. Boom. Yep, so subframe bolt, jack. Very, very important. Just bring this down a little bit. What I did was I put it in here first at an angle, and I got enough room and I could pop it into place. So that's how you do it. That's coolant from the drain plug. We're gonna get that nice and clean because I don't want to deal with that sweet smell. All right, subframe's put back up. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lower this engine just a little bit. These are the nuts. These are the part numbers right there. Oh, cool. Just got a text. Jen is on the way from work. So I just went on to Buildjournal's website, and they say it is 20 Newton meters, or 15 foot-pounds. I trust them, so let's do it. Doesn't seem like a lot, but I don't know. Oh, the hard side is done. Guys, this job is done. It actually wasn't as hard as I think a lot of people make it out to be online. I think what you got to do is just work in segments. What I did, as you saw, right? I worked on the driver's side. I lifted from the driver's side up and used it as kind of like a pivot or a fulcrum point. So we shifted over to the passenger side, had plenty of room, pop out, pop in. What I did on the passenger side, and this could be controversial. So what I did was I put some support under the oil pan with a block of wood, and then what I did as well was I used another jack and a piece of wood upright, and I lifted from under the AC compressor, but with a big piece of wood so that I was spreading the weight as much as possible, because it's as far over on the passenger side as possible to allow me to really tilt the engine up without having the driver's side lift up so much. And then what I did was loosen the two passenger side subframe bolts, used a pry bar. We went down about that far, so 3/4 of an inch. That was enough to get the engine mount in there with the heat shield. Drop it back down, tighten everything up. I don't know what the subframe torque yet is. I haven't yet done it, but I'll comment below on what it is. So I hope you guys like this video. This actually wasn't that bad, and it was actually kind of fun. It's kind of crazy sounding. So I hope you guys like this video. If you haven't subscribed already, hit that subscribe button. It would really mean a lot. We've got a lot more how-tos. We're definitely going to take this thing out and push it and drive it. I've got a lot of other cool comparison videos. I think we're going to bring the Honda CR-V in. I want to talk about why it's the ultimate sports car. Kind of crazy. And if you have any comments, drop those comments in the comment section. See you next time, guys.